Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is @ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.
Hello there, it's the Racing Post Football Postcast. You are warmly welcome. I'm Bruce Millington, and in the company of Ian Wilkerson and Mark Langdon from the Racing Post Football Desk, and a very welcome debutant, Jason Murphy from Paddy Power. We're going to take you through the weekend action. No fewer than six live Premier League games on the telly, starting Saturday lunchtime, ending Monday night. We've got the other Premier League games. We'll have a chat about all the hot topics, and we'll delve deeper down the divisions for all the best bets. Plus find out whether you've won our free bet courtesy of Paddy Power. Okay then chaps, as is always the tradition when we get a debutant, first of all, welcome along Jason Murphy. Jason, what is your job with Paddy Power?
Thanks for having us. I work as just a football trader within the football team, so just looking at match prices and anti-post markets. Okay,
which team do you support?
I'm a Man United fan, thanks to the grandfather. He got me young. Yeah.
That's a slight shame, but we're going all right. Favourite chocolate bar?
Oh, it'd have to be a Kit Kat Chunky.
Really? A particular variation on the classic chocolate?
There was a cheesecake version out there a couple of weeks ago, and
I said they're doing pink ones.
Pink ones?
Pink ones I saw on Twitter this week. Yep. Really? Pink Kit Kats.
Oh, right,
yeah.
Okay. Puppies or kittens, Jason?
Oh, puppies. I don't trust people that like cats.
Well played. that Man U bogey has been nullified with an eagle at that one. And finally, what did you last do? Dance or fight?
Oh, dance. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Good man. Excellent. I'm neither. Okay, 6 questions then. First of all, we'll start with Wilco. Was it a penalty?
Yeah, I thought so. I definitely think he got his hand on the striker there, and he gave Michael Oliver the opportunity to make the decision right at the end. So, yeah, the definite push in the back for me. Yeah, I'd have given it. I think it was definitely a penalty.
Okay, a good big run for me there from Wilco. Now, Mark, Barcelona, is it the end of an era?
No, I don't think it is an end of an era. I mean, every time anyone loses, it's always the end of an era. They're unbeaten in La Liga still this season. They've just equalled the all-time record of, I think it's 38, and they're looking to become the first team ever in Spanish football to go through a season unbeaten, and they're in the Spanish Cup final. But losing 3-0 to Roma, I think they deserve to go out as well, actually, over the 2 legs, was a big blow to the manager, Valverde, and it was the cowardice way that they went out, which has caused so much fury from the supporters who don't mind losing as much as losing the way they did, where they tried to play defensively, and that's just not in their DNA, really. And I think that's probably what's cost them. And even at 2-0, Piqué was on the touchline telling Valverde, we've got to change the tactics. Valverde said no, and they went out. But
it was an incredible couple of nights, wasn't it, Mark?
Really was. I mean, I just can't believe really some of the weird one was everybody thought that if there was to be a comeback it would come maybe at the Etihad, and that turned out to be one of the duller games, really. Yeah, it was a great, I love the Champions League. It's the absolute pinnacle of football these days, and I think we've seen that again.
Absolutely. Now Jason, this season's been unbelievable for the bookmakers and unbelievably tough for the punters. You look at these results again in midweek. Liverpool have won, Seville drew, you obviously had the madness of Roma, and the game last night as well. I mean, is it getting slightly embarrassing for the bookies now? You just cannot lose money, can you?
Yeah, you never see a poor bookie, but to be honest, Liverpool was actually a loser for us there the other night.
Was it?
Yeah, just given the price that they were. And I haven't looked at the book, but I know last week I was looking at the outrights, and Liverpool would do a lot of damage if they do go on to win it.
Oh, fair enough. What's the latest prices on the Champions League, Jason?
Yeah, so Real Madrid are favs at 13-8. You can have Bayern Munich 15-8, Liverpool at 3-1, and you can have Roma at 10s.
And if you were having a bet now, Jason, who would you back?
I actually, when Liverpool got Van Dijk there just after Christmas, had a little nibble at them. Now that was kind of negated by the fact that Coutinho left, so kind of happy enough with what I'm sitting on with Liverpool.
Nice. What price?
25s, and then had another go at 20s as well.
Oh, get you. Yeah, Wilco, happy, yeah, that's very good, Jason. Wilco, who does football best, Sky or BT?
I think you divide it up into different aspects. I think
overall,
probably still Sky, because I like the quality. I think Martin Tyler is still head and shoulders the best commentator in the game, because he doesn't get too excited, he leaves room to go mad for the Aguero moment, the Collymore scoring at Anfield, when he always finds the right pitch. 72 years old, I still think he's brilliant. And I think when Jamie Carragher comes back, I think the pairing of him and Gary Neville is excellent. Having said that, I think the golden generation are showing just as good probably better prospects in the studio than they were on the pitch. I like Frank Lampard. Rio's really good, opinionated, humorous as well. Doesn't take it too seriously. And Gerrard's raised his game alongside him. I think they're very good.
I agree. Very good. Well said. That pretty much sums up everything I think about it as well. Mark, what price should Man City be for the 2018-19 Premier League next season? What price would you be? I have seen a show, not from Paddy Power, but from someone else.
Yeah, so I think probably. we're trying to second guess what everybody else will do in the summer. I'd probably about 4 to 6-ish. And I'm not sure I'd be knocking people over to back that, just because we've seen it's quite difficult to defend. And I think that teams will, I suppose suss them out is maybe the wrong word, but I think they'll have to come up with a plan to stop them, because there was a time this season when teams were just rolling over and letting themselves get beat by them, and it became quite easy for them. And maybe just the last couple of weeks, although it's not going to damage them in terms of the Premier League title this season, you can get at their defence, and it's maybe better off being brave and occasionally losing 5 or 6 in trying to get points off them. We've seen even West Ham earlier on in the season, caused them problems defensively. And
we did as well, didn't we?
Yeah, but Palace should have beaten them if Lucas scores the goal. Then you do beat them.
What do they need? What one player or what one type of player could make them even more?
Well, I think Mendy will make them better when he comes back at left back. He's a huge player for them to come in at left back. I'd like to see another defensive midfielder, because there's a lot of work on Fernandinho to play that role, and if he doesn't play it, Gundogan can do it, but they haven't got maybe a like for like there. But Mendy makes them better already next season. But Liverpool have got Naby Keita to come in. I expect them to get a goalkeeper. Man United will spend again, no doubt about that. Chelsea could be anything under a new manager. Tottenham are in a new stadium, so I think it'll be quite tricky for them.
I saw 8 to 11. I think Liverpool were 9 to 2, and then it was 6 is Man U.
Yeah, well, they were 2 to 1 into about 7 to 4 this season. So how much better are they really? Than I don't think they're going to be that much better.
Okay, Jason, Man United are your team. Would you like to see Mourinho carry on next season, or would you get rid of him and shake it all up a little bit?
I think we'd have to stick with him for another year. We kind of sold our soul when we got him. As in, if he was the right man for the job after Ferguson went, then we should have got him then. But obviously, his style doesn't suit the club. But what you are guaranteed is trophies with him. And I don't see any reason not to continue with him for now and see how things go. Okay,
so it's a sort of guarded vote, is it? You're not mad on him, but the devil.
Yeah, sometimes you love him, sometimes you hate him, but we'll stick with him for now.
Okay, I'm sure that moment when I love him will come, but at the moment, it's the other one. Wilco, which one are you going to answer?
We were talking. You were talking to Jason about the Champions League. I'm really surprised that Roma are 10 to 1. I think that's a big price. I'd definitely be leaning towards them and Liverpool. I was really impressed with Dzeko. He was a massive handful for Barcelona, and obviously we don't know what the draw is yet. We're talking on Thursday, so we don't know what which teams. But I'm remembering the problems that Liverpool had defending against Harry Kane. Perhaps a similar sort of centre forward, big number, number 9 who can be a handful. And we saw, some of the defending that Real Madrid did last night, even though Sergio Ramos proved a big miss for them. Mandzukic is another big striker. I think they could get some change out of these games. I think 10 to 1's a little bit disrespectful.
One of those worth a fiver, George. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, Lango.
Just on that one, I think the 2 outsiders are probably the way to go. But I'll take the. Was it a penalty? It definitely was a penalty.
It's the most blatant penalty, wasn't it?
It was an obvious penalty. Yeah. I know it was gutting for Juventus, and they didn't quite deserve to lose in that manner, but it was a penalty.
Yeah. And it was a red card, wasn't it?
Yeah, the only mistake Oliver makes actually is not sending Benatia off as well, because he'd already been on the yellow card. It was at least a yellow card. He pushed Vazquez in the back.
Yeah.
It was great.
We didn't want it to happen, but he did. You can't.
just the right refereeing decision. I mean, some of the stuff Juventus have come out with afterwards is absolute joke.
Pathetic.
I mean, saying that they bought the referee. I mean, for Juventus to claim that of all teams, given their history, Agnelli, the owner, comes out and says we need VAR. That's because the referees give them every VAR decision going in Serie A. And it was a penalty. I mean, it's a shame, but
it is. It's not. It just happened. I thought it was a fantastic, strong piece of refereeing. I'm very pro the refs, and I felt a little bit of pride there in what Oliver did. And to me, unless it was Chris Foy, any VAR is going to give it.
Chris Foy.
He might give it tomorrow lunchtime, but I mean, you had to give that. Okay, Jason, which question are you going to answer?
I'll just follow up on that. I play centre defence, and I'd like to say it was never a penalty, but you have to be honest, it was definitely a penalty. There's no doubts about it, and fair play to the ref for giving it. But also, what's got missed here is the mind games. Higuain, the slowest I've ever seen anyone walking off, and Chesney, the slowest I've ever seen anyone coming on the pitch. And Ronaldo, what a penalty! Like, to keep his bottom
was
down,
ridiculous.
What
wasn't
a strike!
It was like 5 minutes or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah, it was.
Did everything they could, but the most ridiculous thing of all was the fact when he celebrated, he didn't take a breath. He just held it in for all the cameras.
Yeah. There was one bloke at the back from the Albanian agency, and he just held on for him as well, so he could get a shot as well.
I bet you do that when you celebrate a goal, don't you, Joe? So.
Yeah, big time.
Are you a cultured centre-back, Jason, or a rugged, no-nonsense agricultural, clear-it-into-Rose-Ed merchant?
It depends on who you ask, really.
I'm
a bit of a Titus Bramble is what I was referred to as once, Could be magnificent one week and the disaster the next.
Just on that, did you see they were fighting in the press box?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Spanish and Italian journalists were kicking
Yeah.
off. And definitely Chesney said something to Ronaldo. That's because when he took the shirt off, when he was putting it back on, he went over Chesney and gave him a few verbals.
It was fantastic. It was an iconic, great football moment.
You can't beat it when it kicks off, though.
No, you certainly can't. Well done, lads. Thank you very much. Let's look at the Saturday Premier League games next.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18+, begambleaware.org. OK, what a treat for punters and sports fans on Saturday. As well as the Grand National, we've got 3 live Premier League games starting at 12:30 at St Mary's. It's Southampton versus Chelsea. These two teams meet a week hence in the FA Cup semi-final. So will it be a cagey affair, or will they go gung-ho and try and put a marker down? Jason Murphy, how do Paddy Power bet on Southampton-Chelsea?
Yeah, we've Southampton at 10-3, draw 5-2, and Chelsea 4-5.
OK, and Jason, by the way, you are making a very, very impressive debut. So let's stick with you for your first ever Postcast tip. Make it a good one.
Yeah, well, Mark Hughes is notoriously slow starter when he gets a new job in the Premier League. He is a safe pair of hands, but Southampton really needed to hit the ground running, which they haven't done. They've only won 3 games at home all season, and they've only kept 3 clean sheets. So Chelsea, I think, at 4-5 are definitely worth a bet. Like, their last 5 games haven't been great, but they did lose to United, City and Tottenham. Whereas last week, the 23 shots on goal, Joe Hart had a great game, so they should have won last week. So I really think Chelsea at 4-5, or if you wanted to get a bit more value out of it, Chelsea in the win at over 2.5 goals at 2-1 is a bet as well. Now, Austin is back for Southampton. He's their top goal scorer despite missing half the season as well. So Chelsea haven't kept a clean sheet in that game. So if you do want to go the Southampton route, Austin anytime at 23-10 is definitely value as well.
Well in, Jason. Mark Langdon, Southampton, Chelsea?
Yeah, I was going to go both teams to score. I mean, Jason mentioned some of Southampton's woes there, and obviously Stevens is suspended as well because he got that red card for the Wilshere altercation. Just wish he would have gone for the full-out punch, actually. If you're going to go down, you may as well really go down for that one.
Violence this week, isn't there?
But Chelsea have only kept 2 clean sheets in the last 12 matches. They were against Hull and West Brom. So there are problems there. There's no doubt about that. It's just a team that playing out the season, isn't it, really? But like Jason said, they really didn't deserve what happened to them against West Ham. I mean, they've just walked into Joe Hart's best game for many a year. So they're still going okay going forward. Just defensively, not sure they really know their best setup there. Rudiger doesn't have too many great games. I think he's been a bit of a dodgy signing. Christensen has been in and out of the team more recently, came out, and Cahill it has completely lost it. So, both teams to score, and I wouldn't be surprised if Austin got on the target. He's by far their most likely scorer for Southampton.
Righty-ho, and Wilco.
Yeah, I'm along similar lines, really. I mean, we've got to bear in mind that Southampton put up a plucky effort at Arsenal last week, but, they've beaten one team their last 19 matches, and that was West Brom. That's not a lot of great form in the book, is it? So, Chelsea did knock down the door against West Ham, couldn't quite get in. 4-5, a little bit shy for me, but I like 10 to 11 Chelsea to score more than one goal. I think they're too classy to slip up down there.
OK, the starter at Aintree, the very good jockeys, he needs to get going because the Nationals due off at 5:15. It will take about 9 minutes to run on that soft ground. And if they don't get a lick on, there's going to be a right old clash because down the road at Anfield at 5:30, in a ridiculous piece of fixture scheduling, Liverpool are playing. Liverpool used to play at 1 o'clock on National Day, didn't
All
they?
Fridays, I remember playing Friday nights.
But no, of course, football has to steamroller everything. So we've got the National at 5:15. We've got Liverpool versus Bournemouth at 5:30. And I guess, Jason, Liverpool are very, very warm favourites here.
They are probably a bit short, Bruce. They're 2-9 for Liverpool. The draw 5-1 and Bournemouth 10-1.
OK, well, we'll come back to Jason in a minute to find out why he thinks Liverpool are too short. First of all, Wilco, what do you think will happen? You've got your red shirt on.
Yeah, not particularly in that any show of loyalty in that respect. I was amazed to see over 2.5 goals at 4-11 for this game. That's really short. Liverpool, are we going to get a bounce from their exploits at the Etihad? I don't think so. I would expect them to win quite comfortably. I noted that they scored at least twice in the second half in 5 of their last 7 home games. And over 1.5 Liverpool's second half goals is evens. But if you think they're going to win comfortably, there's not a lot of... you're feeding on scraps, really. OK,
so Liverpool to score twice at least in the second period for Wilco. Mark, what's your view on this one?
Yeah, I mean, if they do start slow, you might miss the first Liverpool goal in the Grand National. I was going for Liverpool on the half-time, full-time double result. I think Bournemouth are really getting away with it at the moment, and they're starting a lot of games slowly and managing to nick points late on. Now
they never say die, aren't they?
They are. I mean, and that there's something to be credited for that, but also I think a negative maybe looking further ahead for them for next season possibly. And if they start slowly against Liverpool, there's no way back. Liverpool last 11 at home, in 10 of those they've scored at least twice, and the one they didn't was the game against Porto when it was a complete dead rubber because they'd already battered Porto away from home. So I expect Liverpool to start quickly and look to get the job done and then take players off. That would be the way I would.
You're going Liverpool.
Yeah.
Coming in, Jason, what have you got here for us here? You bitter Man United loving, Liverpool hating.
Liverpool, they're on unbeaten at home this season. Again, it's whether there's going to be a hangover from the game midweek. Now, both Liverpool and Bournemouth, most of their goals come in the second half. 60% of Liverpool's goals and 64% for Bournemouth. So, kind of following on from Wilco there, I'd say second half, most goals at 10 to 11 is worth a bet. Mo Salah was a doubt during the week as well, and if I was Liverpool, their top 4 in the league is guaranteed, so I'd be wrapping him up in cotton wool. So if no Salah starts on Saturday, doesn't start, then I think Bournemouth in the draw, given that since Christmas Bournemouth would actually be 6th in the table. They are in a bit of form, so 3-1 Bournemouth in the draw. Best price for Paddy Power is definitely worth a bet.
Righty-ho, and we've got another live game after that, 7:45 Saturday night. I'm still not mad on that. I still think it's Anton Deck time, or Deck time,
Deck time.
we now call it. But we've got Spurs Man City. What an incredible game at Wembley. Spurs and Man City. So we're going to be fairly close in the betting here, aren't we, Jason?
We are. I was looking at it yesterday, and Spurs were actually fabs, but looking at it today, they've drifted out to 8-5. The draw 5-2, and Man City are fabs now at 6-4.
Righty-ho, Lango, lead on.
Yeah, I was surprised when Man City were underdogs to win this game. I mean, I don't think City should be underdogs anywhere, really. Maybe Anfield in a Champions League game when home advantage is worth more. But, yeah, I thought this was an opportunity for City to bounce back. I mean, elite teams don't lose, 4 matches in a row too often. And they were brilliant in the first half against Manchester United. I know they fell away in the second, but even when they did, they had a blatant penalty not given. Sterling's missed a sitter. De Gea has played brilliantly in goal. And against Liverpool, it was the match situation that led to them losing the game, really, rather than the fact that they just lost to Liverpool. I mean, they were well on top at 1-0. Bernardo hit the post. They had the goal wrongly ruled out for offside. Chris Foyer finally, as you alluded to earlier on, at some stage in the second half, he realised it wasn't offside. It's amazing he was a referee, actually. But City have won at Chelsea, they've won at United, they battered Arsenal at the Emirates. I thought they were a little bit of a big price, really, to beat a Tottenham team that's in fantastic form, no doubt about that. But this is the hardest game in English football.
One of our Spurs fans opposes his boys. Do both of you, Wilco?
It's going to be very hard for Tottenham. I would expect City to put in a good show. As Mark alluded to, their first half performances against United and Liverpool, I thought were excellent. As good a football as I've seen all season. Spurs are going great guns. I think it will depend on who. It's a great, intriguing battle between who's going to get the grips of the midfield, whether it'll be De Bruyne or Eriksen. I think that'll be a really fascinating sort of matchup. And I think Eriksen's a decent each-way poke for first goal at 8-1. He's scored 4 goals in his last 3 games.
Unless Kane just takes it off him.
Yeah, quite, yeah. Kane
don't tell Harry.
In the dressing room, wasn't he?
Yeah, but 4 goals in his last 3 games.
One of his pubic hairs dropped on the pitch and the ball ran over it.
So as a former member of the Centre Forwards Union, then I'd
right. What's your tip, Wilco? Come on, you're rambling.
I was going.
Sorry, I interrupted.
So it's Eriksen each way.
Eriksen each way. That's 8-1 each way, or 11-4 any time.
Righto. Jason, you've had about 3 birthdays while Wilco's been talking. What do you fancy in this one?
I'm fascinated to watch the prices because Man City actually haven't gone off as underdogs in any game this season, which is incredible, really. If I was to have a bet, I'd have to go against the boys, though. I think Spurs are playing really well. They've won 7 out of 8 games in the league, including that 2-2 draw, that crazy game with Liverpool. If you look at the league since Christmas, Spurs will be top of the table. Guardiola hasn't lost 3 games in a row as manager since May 2015, and that's when Bayern Munich had the league wrapped up. I don't know if he's ever lost 4 in a row, but we'll find out Saturday night. But I think Spurs, definitely with the way they're playing, and the fact that these teams score goals, I'd go with Spurs in over 2.5 goals at 13-5.
Excellent, thank you, chaps. Let's do the Saturday roundup now. So there's 4 3 p.m. games in the Premier League. Jason, you read out the prices and then we'll get some tips. So we'll start with Burnley versus Leicester.
Yeah, so Burnley versus Leicester, we have Burnley at 8-5, the draw 21-10, and Leicester 9-5.
Lango?
Draw. This would be a good result for Burnley because it keeps them ahead of Leicester in the hunt for Europa League. Never really fancy Burnley to win games because they don't create that many chances, but Leicester decimated by midfield injuries and suspensions at the moment.
Wilco?
Home win. Burnley won their last 4. Big fan of Wood and Barnes up front. That's working really well for them. Leicester won 2 away games at Brighton and West Brom in their last few games. But I think they might come unstuck here, so I think the Clarets are a big price.
I like wooden barns as well. If I'm building a barn, I always use wood. Jason, what are you going for here?
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'm a big fan of backing both these teams. They're always nice prices each week, but I think Burnley at home, given they've won their last 4 games, I can see them, just being a bit more motivated with Europa League qualification on the line. So I'd be going Burnley 8-5.
Right then, Jason, it's the big one. Selhurst Park, 3 o'clock. Palace versus Brighton. Come on, Palace! How'd you bet?
So we're betting Palace Fabs 10-11. You can have your draw 23-10 or Brighton at 16-5.
Wilco?
Home win.
Well done, Lango.
Palace. No proper for Brighton, and I think Palace are a top half team in all but name.
Okay, and Jason?
Yeah, it's 3 yeses. Yeah, Palace definitely at 10-11.
I love you, boys. Huddersfield versus Watford. Jason, how are you betting it? And we'll stick with you for the tip.
So Huddersfield 13-8. You can have the draw 21-10 or Watford at 7-4. These are 2 teams that are not really in great form, but I think Huddersfield have a bit more on the line. Watford should be safe enough at this stage, but Huddersfield, their last 3 games are against City, Chelsea and Arsenal. They need to get points and they need to get it at the weekend, so I think Huddersfield will edge it at 13-8.
Righty-ho, Mark?
Yeah, I thought the motivation factor wasn't quite factored in enough, actually, for this game. I'm going to go for Huddersfield. They've only won 2 of the last 15 games, which isn't great, but Watford's only point in their last 10 away matches came at Stoke, so I think probably Watford are the ideal team to be playing at the moment. given that this is probably the biggest game of Huddersfield's season and probably for a long, long time, actually.
Unusual for a motivation not to be factored in properly, isn't it?
It normally starts round about now, so maybe it's if this was say in 2 weeks' time, Huddersfield could be really silly price. So I thought they were okay.
We have 2 votes for Huddersfield. Do we have 3? Will?
Yeah, we do. I think, as Jason alluded to, the remaining fixtures that the Terriers face, I still think they could slip back into trouble. But I think this is the one game that they can win. Watford were poor at Arsenal, limp at Liverpool, and they lost their last 6 games of last season. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they tailed off again now at 37 points. They're probably safe.
Okay.
So I'll go for them too.
Okay, all these 3 p.m. games are tough, aren't they? Very, very competitive, very, very tricky affairs. And the final one is Swansea versus Everton. What's the betting on that one, Jason?
Swansea 7-5, draw 21-10, and the Toffees are 15-8.
Wilco, what are you going to go for here?
It's going to be the 4th home win on the trot for me. The Swans would look good at home. They were thumped by Spurs in the Cup, but apart from that, they've won their last 4 in the league. And Everton, I just can't have them under Allardyce. They've won at Stoke in their last away games, but they've not shown much. And I think this is a game that the Swans can take.
Did you watch that Merseyside derby last week, Mark? Wasn't it
awful?
Yeah,
I watched it from the bar at AFC Wimbledon. Yeah, it wasn't great. I wasn't really expecting it.
It never is.
No,
I can't think the last time I was entertained
last
watching
week's
that.
podcast that you didn't enjoy it.
Don't enjoy it.
I'm going to go for Everton draw no bet in this game. Wouldn't be surprised if it finished in a draw, but just a bit wary about backing Swansea as favourites. Swansea and Huddersfield, there's not much in their prices, and I think I'd rather bet Huddersfield to beat Watford than Swansea to beat Everton.
And how about you, Jace, the ace?
Yeah, I think looking at the prices, I'd have a cut at Everton at 15-8. Swansea have won their last 4 league games at home, but that's been stretched out over a couple of months. They do have Jordan Ayew returning from suspension too, which is big for them. But big fan of Seamus Coleman over here, and I think he does a lot of damage when he's getting down the right wing. So I think Everton are probably worth a bet at 15-8.
Okay. My favourite thing about watching Everton at the moment is Rooney's strops when he gets hurt. They're so illogical, aren't they? I mean, he plays. Look, he's not the force of old, and yet when he walks off,
and it's like he doesn't see it coming. It happens every week.
Yeah.
It's like he seems. What, me?
Yeah.
Me, Gaffer. Every week he's coming
strange.
off at that sort of time.
It really is. Let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
Lead on, Jason Murphy.
Yes, just following on from earlier, I think Palace at 10-11. I know Benteke is a doubt, but Brighton have not won away in 9 games. Palace have lost their last 3 home games, but that was against Spurs, United and Liverpool, and they were all in the last 10 minutes. Palace are definitely a top half team. Zaha's back. Yeah, definitely back Palace 10-11.
Jason, can you redo the rota so you're always in on Thursday lunchtime, please? We like you. We like you. Lango, what's your nap?
It's Wigan to beat Rotherham. I don't know if I'm crying this one in, given I want Blackburn to win League One, but I mean, Wigan are the best team in the division. They've won 6 of their last 7 since the cup exploits have been finished. I thought they were unlucky against Pompey, but bounced back well. 5-1 MK Dons, 4-1 at Rochdale, which was an outstanding result.
They were odds against in that game.
Yeah, but Rochdale are a good team. That 4-1 victory, Bruce, was just astonishing, really, given that Rochdale are much better than the league table suggests. Rotherham, 3 defeats in 4, and there's 17 points between the 2 teams. So,
what price are the Latics?
It's 8-11, 4-6ish, but I thought it was perfectly fair.
Fair enough. Wilkes?
I'll go for Huddersfield. Big day for them, and Watford are tailing off.
Okay, Burnley have done me proud the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to continue to nap them. So Burnley for the hat-trick. Okay, competition time. Every week we give you the chance to win a free £25 or €25 bet, courtesy of our sponsors, Paddy Power. All you have to do is answer the upcoming question correctly and tweet your answer with the hashtag Postcast. The winner will have the free bet credited to their Paddy Power account. And last week's winner was Joe from Belfast. Well played, Joe. Today's question is, which Italian club knocked Barcelona out of the Champions League on Tuesday night? We will announce the winner on next Thursday's show.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back, Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, Ian Wilkerson, and very impressive Postcast debutant Jason Murphy from Paddy Power. Looking ahead to 2 live games on Sunday, and then we've got Monday Night Football as well. So we'll start off with the 1:30 encounter at St James's Park, Newcastle versus Arsenal. Jason, how do Paddy Power bet?
Yeah, so we've Newcastle 12-5, 5-2 to draw, and the Gunners at evens.
Okay, Mark, does the Gunners do it for you at evens?
No. I mean, 3 away wins all season in the Premier League. Their first team's in Russia on Thursday night playing. I mean, we're speaking before that game. It's the most important game of their season, and I think it's all about the Europa League for them. Even when they've beaten Stoke and Southampton in recent weeks with their mix and match teams, it's not been very good, and it's just something's not right there. I think you can quite clearly see that, and
it's fun. It's hard to put your finger on it. The fans don't really know what it is. They don't all think the same.
No, I mean, obviously Wenger, it appears to be playing out time, but even the players, I mean, at some stage the players have to take responsibility for their defensive mistakes. But Newcastle, I just think, are just an amazingly managed team under Rafa Benitez.
You'd have Benitez at Arsenal in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I would. I absolutely would.
It's a bit good for Arsenal, though.
I mean, it would be a concern as a Spurs fan if he went there, because he shouldn't be managing. I mean, Newcastle have got an amazing manager for the money that they put into the club. I mean, they're a big club, and that their fans have been through quite a bit in recent years with relegations and an owner they absolutely hate, but at least they've got a great manager, and I think he'll come up with a plan that at least gets them a point.
So what's the bet?
Newcastle or draw double chance.
Wilco?
Arsenal too short for me, but one player I've been impressed with in the last few weeks has been Aubameyang. I think he's looked really sharp. He's being pushed into game. He's only getting sort of like 60, 70 minutes. He's not playing the whole game, so he's starting quite quickly. So I noted he was 3-1 for the first goal. If you wanted to go that way after 5 goals in his last 4 games, or 10-11 any time, which I think is quite a big price.
Righty-ho. Jason, what do you like here?
Yeah, just the same as Wilco was saying about Aubameyang. I had that down here as well. Benitez in Newcastle is kind of like when you see a good-looking woman walking down the street with not such a good-looking man, and you kind of wonder, like, what's he doing with them? Like, it's God honest true. But same as the boys, I think Arsenal have to travel to Russia there tonight. I think there could be a hangover from that. Newcastle have picked up more points than Arsenal since Christmas. They had a bad period in October and November when James Lascelles was out injured. They conceded 15 out of 41 goals in 6 games, but since the Bet United have been on a great run. I really like to look at Newcastle. You could have them at 12-5. I take the draw no bet at 6-4.
Okay, well done, lads. And the 4 o'clock game is Man United versus West Brom. What's the betting here, Jason?
So Man United 1-8, 11-2 to draw, or West Brom at 17-1.
And we'll stick with you, Jason. What's the bet?
Man United have won 5 in a row. Johnny Evans is a doubt for West Brom. They finally got rid of Pardew, but never should have got him in the first place. I remember at the time the joke being that when they were struggling, West Brom looked like a team that needed to hire Tony Pulis. Never should have got rid of him, let's be honest about it. So looking for value in it, it's like 1-8 is too short. Man United's 8-15 half-time, full-time's a bit short, but I think Man United to win both halves at 5-4. Yeah, I think that's all right.
Okay, I think I might sit this one out, Mark.
There's amazing European football on Sunday, so if you need your fix...
Oh, really? What should I be watching?
I think, it's the Rome Derby. That's pretty big. PSV are playing Ajax. Porto have got Benfica.
Cool.
There's a lot. Schalke Dortmund as well this weekend, so there's a lot of...
That's Mrs. Langdon's plans for a day out.
Yeah, I've got Sunday off, yeah. Do the garden about 8 o'clock in the morning and then crack on.
Man United, West Brom, Mark.
Yeah, I'm not a game I watch, but I think Man United to win to 0, Bruce, would be the one. No bottom half team has scored at Old Trafford this season, which it surprised me. Newcastle, the highest placed team that have scored there, and West Brom's only away goal to the top 6 came at Wembley, and that was under Gary Megson. Maybe when they got rid of Pulis, Mego was the one. He got a draw, didn't he?
I think he'll be a big runner for the job when they go down. I think he's got a good, because he did well with the championship with them last year. It could be who's going to take it. I think he could be in with a shout.
I mean, the fans love him, but I mean, yeah, they're playing out time now this season. So United to win to 0. If you wanted bigger prices, then at 1-8, United are not going to be the sort of team that tries to win 6, 7, 8-0. That's not really their style. So I mean, 2-0 looks a pretty solid, correct score, maybe with a saver on 3.
Righty-ho, Wilco?
Yeah, I've got that bet. 2-0 at 4-1 or 3-0 at 11-2. I won't be watching. I'm probably not betting on it either.
Okay, well, it's Monday night football. We always watch Monday night football. It's a good one. 8 o'clock at the London Stadium. West Ham versus Stoke. West Ham, a little bit of a resurgence. Stoke absolutely fighting for their lives. All about Arnautovic, who obviously left the Earth 365 in acrimonious circumstances last summer. So, should be a lively old encounter. And what's the latest betting from Paddy Power?
Yeah, so West Ham at 10-11, the draw at 12-5, and Stoke 11-4.
Wilco, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you've talked about Arnautovic. I think he's looked really good in the last couple of weeks when they steamrolled Southampton. You could see the motivation that he had to put one over Mark Hughes, his former boss, and I think that's still going to be there to do it against his former team as well. It was a good point for them at Chelsea on Sunday. Stoke, I can't have them at all. So it's all about Arnautovic for me. So he's 4-1 to score first, or 13-8 anytime.
Okay, I can have Stoke. I've still got a feeling there's a little bit of life left in them. What do you think, Mark? Buried?
They're not dead and buried yet because they are playing better. They played well at Arsenal, they played well at Tottenham, but they did lose both of those games ultimately. They've got the worst goal difference, minus 33, and their only away win came at Watford much earlier on in the campaign. And West Ham have done very well against the sort of rubbish, if you like. Swansea, Huddersfield, Southampton, West Brom, beaten all of them at home. And this is their only bottom half game left. So if they still need to do some points to keep themselves safe, you feel like this is the game they target. But going round in circles, because I do agree with you actually that I feel like there's a performance in them and a result in there somewhere. Shaqiri to score any time was the one. I put him up last week and he hit the bar against Tottenham.
It's always the way, isn't it?
He hit the post against Arsenal. So he's getting close. He's playing well. If Stoke score, it's probably likely to be the 7-goal Shaqiri. So I'll go for him at any time. And I think Joe Hart, although he played well against Chelsea, from distance, I've still got my doubts about him, and Shaqiri will sort of buy a ticket, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. That raffle prize, he'll be going for that. Jason, round off your fantastic, dazzling debut with a triple Salco. What have you got for us?
Yeah, I'd be going for West Ham. To have serious injuries at the moment, you'd make a hell of a five-a-side over it with Lanzini, Antonio Carroll in there, Collins at the back or Reed. But they've a good signing from Inter there, and Mario since he's come in, and Arnautovic found his shooting boots there when he was away with Austria during the international break. So West Ham, when they win, they tend to win pretty comfortably. So West Ham and over 1.5 goals at 6-4.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Jason. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Wilco. Don't forget, we've got daily Aintree postcasts in Grand National Week. And if you enjoy these postcasts, do please rate, review and subscribe on iTunes. Back next Thursday.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather or the gym.